They didn't know the true me. So the person that they were trusting was based on a lie that I had surrounded myself with. I remember being at primary school, and I remember all the girls were saying things like, I'm going to be nurses or nannies, and all the boys were going to be firemen and policemen. And I remember vividly, I must have been 6, and I said, I want to be a soldier. I will be a soldier. It was probably a wrong choice for me to be in the Royal Military Police, because we were investigators, we were military investigators, and we were there to uphold the law within the military. And sometimes that meant that I was involved in cases, that we were investigating cases of homosexuality. I would have to be there as the witness or the second investigator, and to listen to people desperately trying to deny any involvement with another woman or with another man. In an unforgiving society as it was in the military in the 90s, and all pre-2000, having to admit that you are gay was a really, really big thing. And it was still such a stigma that nobody would agree to it, because if you did admit that, then you'd be out straight away. That would be the end of your career. So people weren't going to admit that they were gay. We never had an investigation that didn't go anywhere. There would always be a consequence of an investigation. So even if that person was found not guilty of homosexuality, they were tarred with it. And you couldn't carry on after an incident like that, because people wouldn't be able to trust you. And the military is all about trust. To trust somebody, you need to know them. But people didn't know who I was. They didn't know the true me. So the person that they were trusting was based on a lie that I had surrounded myself with. By the time I was going through training, I was sure. I knew that I was gay, and I knew that it was something that just couldn't happen. You know, as I said, I really wanted my military career. I remember going back to the blog and wondering, do I want my family to know that I'm being investigated because I might be gay? I mean, the shame that would bring was just too much for me to bear. So I made what could have been, now people might think, a very rash decision to sign off, to put in my year's notice. So I came out in '99, and of course it wasn't very long afterwards that the ban was lifted.
Lawyers and campaigners waited anxiously for the historic press release to arrive by email.
Excellent. Good.
It was everything they were hoping for. The court had said the government's policy of sacking all known homosexuals from the armed forces was a breach of their human rights.
I was closeted for many years after coming out of the military. I always used to say to people that I came out for love, but I didn't elaborate on what I meant by that. So we're coming up to the 20th anniversary of the lifting of the ban, and it's really important for people to remember what it was like. We need to keep telling stories, telling people about what it's actually like to be gay, what it was like to be gay 20 years ago in the military, how far we've come, but how much more there is still to do. And until everybody is accepted for who they are, regardless of who they're in love with, then there is work to be done.